Yes. Sonic the Hedgehog. The guy that has the most hated to just the game of all time, along with the most passionate and wicked fan base ever united, that had a live action movie that went from this to this.
I am their lovable space creature.
Yet somehow, it became one of the most critically acclaimed and finest video game movie adaptation ever that's better than these based from my or your favorite game of all time. I think Sonic is the Uno reverse card of bad video game movies in and of itself as a gaming franchise. Hello everyone, my name is Walter Narantha. Today I'm going to do a quick review on Sonic Movie 1 and 2. With the upcoming Sonic 3 on the horizon, I think it'll be fun to talk about the Blue Blur's fascinating transition to live action. Before we zip through, you already knew the story behind this production by now. The design was so terrible in the trailer, then they arrived Paramount to change it. They delayed it, and they did it! Which, I'm glad they're more obedient to the fans than these careless directors of their passionless movies nowadays. Because in the words of Henry Cavill,
I don't necessarily consider that toxic, I just consider that passionate.
that's what most directors of the new movies should strive for. Be loyal to the fans rather than attacking them. Based from Sonic himself. Thank you, Sonic fans. Without further ado, let's spin dash to the positives. When I was 4 years younger, I used to watch Sonic Movie 1 3 times. More than these movies I just watched once, as I'm excited for Sonic Movie 2. I don't know, maybe I'm a bit too bold and biased to say, but there's something so intriguing about being just a regular donut lord guy. If you or I were him, who happens to stumble upon an alien or human from another galaxy or another world, based from your favorite video game character you love and used to play. It's like you were to stumble upon Mario and then you take him on a road trip while fleeing away from Bowser's grasp while finding his way back to Mushroom Kingdom, for example. That's pretty much the whole plot of this old premise, and I think it works pretty well for a Sonic movie in a road trip setting, considering how much Sonic games revolves around human cities, states, and high streets he usually runs in more often than not. It's very faithful as Green Hill Zone. As for the characters and voice acting, they're perfectly solid in their light-hearted prime, especially Jim carrying the whole villain as Eggman. It's so funny when he shuts the soldier's mouth closed.
Are you in charge here?
Yes, I
Nope.
am.
Wrong. I'm in charge.
Is
Me!
Major
Ben
Charge.
Sonic in the games wasn't that interesting to me in my childhood, other than look cool, I guess. And looking back to him right now, I don't see how he becomes Sonic with his non-existent origin story other than his flat characterization and other media portrayals that established his backstory. But in the live action, this changed my mind about the Blue Blur completely. He's basically an isolated adopted son of Longclaw the Owl, who was stranded on Earth, teleported by his mother for his safety, and seek not just friendship, but also family and belonging from Tom and Maddie's house, and care for resolving his inner loneliness on this new planet he'll be staying on, even as an alien threat, and a hero, as well as an adoptive son of Tom and Maddie as his mother, Longclaw. This might be my favorite version of Sonic, more than a billion other depictions of the Blue Rat. Same goes for Eggman, who is also lonely and puts machine above all else. And he punishes them back for bullying his own ego when he was little, till right now. All of these three aspects combined is the reason why I watched Sonic Movie 1 3 times, cementing itself as my favorite video game adaptation to watch. Well, not the best, nor life-changing, nor groundbreaking, industry-changing video game movie ever, but it's genuinely one of the more fun type of adaptation to watch than, say, a comic book movie, in my opinion. So why is it still not the best? Well, The road trip has so much filler that Sonic could have just snatched the bag of ring on his own rather than riding on Tom's car for whatever reason. I understand that he still doesn't know the way and asked Tom to carry him to New York where he dropped his bag of rings through the portal accidentally. But come on, you could have just given him a map earlier to find the bag of rings with his super speed alone. Just saying. Eggman is so smart, as he always states himself to be, as he's controlling the egg drones. Misshots all of his bullets on Tom and Sonic, as if he never plays Call of Duty in his life during their chase scene, only to be beaten up by Tom other than just Sonic. It's a bit of a villain downplay sort of problem in the narrative, but I thought it's very funny to point out. At least he takes his aim seriously in the climax. And of course, no Chaos Emerald. Heck, even the first game has Chaos Emeralds that the first movie is based from. Just saying. But overall, Sonic Movie 1 has solid storytelling, great CGI rather than overworking the artists to death unlike Marvel, and the humans are more likable and smarter than the Transformers humans. Except Maddie's mom, Rachel. So I'll give this a 6.9 out of 10. Moving on. Sonic 2, after I left the theater with high expectations, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I thought the sequel and the villain was more disappointing than the first, and I originally gave this a 6.6 out of 10. Which will make sense later on in the video, I promise. Since this leans way more on Tails, Knuckles, and the Master Emerald, you would think the humans would be irrelevant to a Sonic-esque conflict if done wrong, right? Right?
No!
Well, guess what? Rachel hijacks the pacing of the second act after rescuing Sonic and Tails back out of the cages devoted to a scene between her and her husband, drags on way too long than the first, and it contributes nothing to the narrative at all. If you cut that scene out, nothing changes, and I found it disappointing because of how slow it is for a movie about the fastest thing alive. Now I know you'll be asking, does that mean the first act and the third act of Sonic Movie 2 is as slow as Rachel? No, of course not. Well, it's still slow, but it's purposefully done right rather than purposelessly done wrong. Let me explain. For example, the scene where Sonic and Tails have to do a dance battle with this guy before getting the map to the Emerald if they win. On the surface, Sonic would have just instantly snatched the map and carried Tails out of the bar no problemo. But instead, Sonic encourages Tails to overcome its personal isolation of being weird and nerdy, even other mean humans just as mean as Eggman. Yet despite all of his shyness, Tails looks up to Sonic freely and learns how to stand up against others for judging his weirdness and nerdiness because of his, well, Tails. And with the context of movie 1, Sonic finally found his friend of the same species coming from the same planet he came from and encourages Tails to dance with him. And they won! And the more I rewatch it twice, Tails could have been afraid fighting Eggman together with Sonic if Sonic just instantly snatched the map and didn't give any encouragement to the boss at all. At least in my interpretation. But it's still a preference. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with my take or not. Same goes for Knuckles and Eggman's relationship fleshed out at the beginning of the first act, as well as Sonic and Tails. Same goes to Tom Wachowski finding out that Rachel's rings happens to be Sonic's teleportation ring for Sonic to escape out of the avalanche through the ring portal in the nick of time, etc. Well, except the gun soldiers who also end up irrelevant as Rachel. However, despite all of these super speed monsters like the first, one elevates Sonic Movie 2 above the mess and Rise of the Beast and Sonic vs. Knuckles. They both clash for the same goal who suffered the same tragedy of their warring tribes and fighting for their best friend. Except that Knuckles, just like his own game he debuted in, actually went through a positive changing character arc moment than these two movies that's never been done after Sonic Movie 2. And on top of all that, Idris Elba nailed his tribal voice of of his tribal Echidna clan.
It is my destiny to do what my ancestors could not, to restore the ultimate power.
And the way he resolves his own character arc with Sonic after Eggman betrays Knuckles is beautifully well done. Something the Marvels didn't get it. How Kamala Khan, who's a Captain Marvel fan, forgives her of her diabolical actions that changed her view as a superheroine. Yet it's done so quick and half-baked than Knuckles' character arc. Ha! Take that, you movie! I love that he has a Boomy-esque mind interacting with one of Jim Carrey's machines as if he's still a caveman from his caveman era tribe, only to get used to a baseball bat at the end of the movie is sweet, rather than being stupefied for the sake of comic relief unlike modern Knuckles in the games. Except Frontier's Knuckles, but you get the point. He may not be memorably funny as Boom Knuckles' meme status commentary, but at least it doesn't end up as a joke in this depiction only. As for Eggman, is reduced into a one-dimensionally evil villain than the first. His super form and the robot mode is as cool as Supersonic for an Easter egg man reference, but it doesn't make him a sympathetic villain at all. Another disappointment I had with the sequel. In conclusion, Sonic 2's development is genuinely improved than the first. Great pacing from Act 1 and 3 specifically made Tails useful rather than a scaredy fox unlike he was in the game, except Frontiers changed it, and once again treats the CGI workers and the fans with respect rather than strict deadlines nor politically charged messengers for the best fight scene in the whole sequel. Could you imagine if movie Sonic and Tails kept their old design and kept pumping out every single Sonic movie without the fans' feedback in an ordinarily incompetent Hollywood way possible? And that's why fans are your best quality for any projects ever. Because if you don't take these feedbacks into consideration of your trailer or your movie's quality, then you have to remain humble that their opinions are not toxic. They are passionate of making their product as best as it can be for audiences who will eventually be a fan of your movie in the first place. And that's the lesson of Sonic Movie 1 and 2. It may not be the best film for you, but to me personally, this is the best direction for the franchise moving forward. Then other franchises failed to move forward. So anyways, I'll give this sequel a 7.2 out of 10, thanks to the character arc of Knuckles, going from misguided to a Sonic fan.
Excellent argument. Approved.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon to be notified for my next movie review. Bye!